Okay, this is the late night edition of the Authentic Human Being Show. My name is John Gregory Presco, otherwise known as Springfield Johnny. It's 1 o'clock, and I've looked at the 3 videos I made. I was very impressed with the last one, the energy that was coming out of there, the sincerity, and I hope I can continue doing that. I want to talk about the secret work that Rena and I were doing, or I believe we were doing. I'll talk about why I believe we had a secret job to do. And it has everything to do with the Muses. It has everything to do with Rena's incredible memory. It's truly astounding. It really takes us beyond the pale, the veil. We literally can go into the Holy of Holies and taste the divine presence of the Holy Spirit, the counselor that Jesus talks about when he knows he's going to die. He says, I won't leave you as orphans in the world. I'll send the great counselor, and that's the Holy Spirit. And that's the Muse. That's the Muse of Christianity. And Christianity touches upon it with the wings, the angels, the cherubim, the Holy Holies, over the ark. And this is stuff as a theologian that I really look at. I've been looking at it for 27 years. After reading Luke, I was up living in a trailer in the McKenzie River, a small trailer. I've been there. And I'd been up to see Baba's father was up in Portland for 3 days at the seminary college. There was all these nuns walking around, and I was bunking with a young man from India. And these were Baba lovers from everywhere, all over the United States, Britain, Australia. They'd come to this gathering of Baba lovers. And so I'd come back from this meeting to my trailer. I was living on the property of my kindred, the Dundons, Michael Dundon and his children. And just as I'm going back in the trailer, Michael comes out. He's like, got you something. Haul out your hand. So he puts the Bible in my hand. And I started to say, no thanks, But then I remembered what I said when I nixed the religion that they wanted to, they considered making around Baba. They said, we met in the Rose Garden Sunday with about 60 people with a video camera running. And his name escapes me again. He said, okay, we're going to meet here, and I want you just to open your mouth up, let your divine intuition go. Don't worry about if it's off the wall or not. We're going to talk about whether we're going to form a religion of Baba. And the idea was kind of like, because Baba didn't speak for 30 years before he died, that there would be, he would speak through us. This is the counselor, the Holy Spirit. And boy, all of a sudden my mouth is open. It's like it is now. I love the camera now, Ever since I started, Kenny helped me get past my fear of reading poetry. He actually had to read one of my poems at the granary, because, I wasn't going to read them because I was too terrified. So there I am in this trailer reading all of Luke one night. And I'm reading it like nobody else has ever read it, okay? I'd studied the Indian religion since my near-death or death experience. When I came back, James Taylor was putting all these books next to my bed. I was up in the attic looking for this half-round stained glass window. Absolutely terrified, freaked out about what's going to happen to me. I didn't fit in the world anymore. I'm totally dislodged from what people know about reality. People are coming up saying, can I lay next to you? And because my eyes are lit up. People see me in the hallway, and look, his eyes are glowing. My brother-in-law shows up, Larry Seidel. He's up there. He's connected with Brother Eternal Love down in L.A., and he's up there by some LSD with these two young women. Well, we were all young, yeah. And there he is, looking at me, and, they're kind of doing this reading in the lotus position in front of this stained glass window, beautiful stained glass window, There I am, looking like Sid Arthur at 20 years old, and, I look up, I hear Greg, and I look up, and Larry, he's married to Christine, Rosenbaum Benton. He said, "What are you doing here?" I said, "Well, what are you doing here?" I said, "These are my friends." And all of a sudden, this girl that was next to Larry was staring at me like big time, All of a sudden, she raises her finger and goes, "There's a gold aura around that man." Yeah, there is. Help me. What am I going to do? Where am I going to go? I didn't want this. It was an accident. I fell on a rock on a powerful dose of those. Help me! There were people from India, in their loincloths that would come to me in the big Victorian house, They would, like, "Have you tried meditating? Who are you?" They say, "What are you doing on this plane of consciousness?" I said, "Hello!" So I try not to panic because it's like, like the psychics who saw this in 1987, 20 years later, the first thing the seer said is, "You died. You own your own creation." Really? See, I put all this away. See, I became an alcoholic. I didn't want, I didn't want to be the Messiah. People called me the reluctant Messiah. I didn't make it to India because my friend Chris got naked in my bed and we made love. And there were a lot of flowers and everything else. So now I'm no longer a virgin. I'm no longer Sid Arthur. Not going to make it to India, All of a sudden, I have an interest in women, making love to women. I thought it was probably the most incredible thing ever invented, next to achieving enlightenment. Oh, God. See, we're there. See, she brought me here. There's a lot of evidence in Rena's letter that she's dying. My great, beautiful Muse is dying. And she disguised it. She invented this husband that's supposedly lived with her for 15 years. And she says he's in very poor health and it worries me so because I can't do anything about it, Well, when I read it, I'm going, why isn't he doing anything about it? Why is it up to Rena? I mean, there's doctors, there's Obamacare. So you read the whole thing, it's right there. It's all there. See, abused children being abused by their adults, they leave their body A lot of them don't come back. They just leave their body, or they're being abused. And then when they come back, they take a vow. And it's the hardest thing to break in this world. And the vow says, I will never ask anybody for help as long as I live. Never, 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 never ask anybody for help as long as I live. That's the vow this beautiful, beautiful woman took at a very young age. So she sends me this letter that ends, would you please install me in the Muse Hall of Fame. Okay. Mnemosyne, Mnemosyne. Source of the word mnemonic. Okay, was personification of memory in Greek mythology. Memory comes from this Greek name. The Titanese were the daughter of Gaia and Uranus, and the mother of the 9 muses of Zeus. Okay? This is the great mother Muse. Right here. And God, the gods, whatever, put me and Rena together on that beach at 3 o'clock in the morning. And the odds of that happening are so incredible. God, chills. See, this is my great love letter, verbal love letter to this human being, this goddess, this Muse. Mnemosyne. In Hesiod's Theogony, kings and poets received their powers of authoritative speech from their possession of Mnemosynes and their special relationship with the Muses. Zeus and the Mnemosynes slept together for 9 consecutive nights, thus birthing the 9 Muses. Mnemosyne also presided over a pool in Hades, counterpart to the river Lethe, according to a series of 4th century BC Greek funerary inscriptions in dactyl hexameter. And I studied the dactyl finger signing that Robert Graves talks about. I had to be a Robert Graves freak. Dead souls drank from Lethe so they would not remember their past lives when reincarnated. Initiates were encouraged to drink from the river Mnemosyne when they died instead of Lethe. These inscriptions may have been connected with the Orphic poetry. Okay. Paulianity, or Paul's version of Christianity, which became the Catholic Church, wiped out the Orphic poetry, philosophy. The Muses wiped them out. Orpheus, beautiful wife dies, and he is devastated at losing her. Absolutely devastated. And he goes down into Hades to see if he can bring her back. And he talks to the entities that are in charge of Hades. And they say, okay, you've made a very, very beautiful argument as to why we should give your beautiful wife life. See, and what is that? Okay, this is why Christianity had to destroy Orpheus and Eurydice, because Eurydice dies and she's reincarnated, or almost reincarnated. not reincarnated, born again. There's permission, that rules to follow, and this beautiful dead wife, Orpheus, will live again. Okay. The stipulation was that he couldn't look back. Go ahead, leave Hades, but don't look back. If you look back and see your wife's beautiful face again, she'll die again, and she'll never, never be reborn. You'll have no chance of seeing her live the light of day, dancing in the flowers in the fields. And this is what this painting is going to be. You can see an arm coming up there, just taken from the photograph. And I was going to have, this was going to be Eurydice coming out of the cave, holding a torch. And Orpheus feels her energy, feels her light source, and they're almost to the surface. You can see the blue light, the phthalo blue light of the dawn. That beautiful day, he's going to have his wife back to live upon the earth, and he just has to turn and look at her, and she's gone. That just happened to me and her. Poof. We were so close, these letters that we exchanged, so close to seeing each other again. But I had to take another look. I couldn't help it. I should have kept my letter real simple. 2 paragraphs. Hey, I'm so glad to hear from you, Rena. I'm glad you're doing fine. It sounds like you've got a wonderful life. Please, here's my phone number. Give me a call. Let's talk. See, that's what I should have done. In hindsight, looking back, see, hindsight. If I didn't look back, everything would have been fine. But when I received this letter, it just triggered all these memories of her and I together when we were 18 and 23 years of age in 1970. I wrote 3 parts of this letter to her. The first one was okay. It was about this little speck of sparkle from her Christmas card with it, I should have stopped there. That one probably would have passed, But then I trying to go to sleep, and I was just thinking about being able to see her dance. She became a beautiful dancer, ballerina, and my God, I'm just weeks away from seeing this. And I had this vision of this beautiful woman dancing the bolero on YouTube that I just loved, and I just trying to go to sleep, and we were in our tent up on the mountain, because I'm going on these memories of her when she was 18. They're all coming back. I don't know the 60-year-old woman in Montana in that trailer. I don't have any memories of her, none. She has memories of her. She knows what she's done in the last 44 years. I don't have a clue, see? So so I just had to go feast, and I got the brake on, I'm riding the clutch. I'm trying to, really hold it down, but because I don't want to freak her out, So I did, freaked her out. I think I know what got her the most. So I sent her The Birth of Venus, reading The Birth of Venus with Anya's music in it. And I said, listen to this when you're alone with a candle and a quilt. And I mentioned this music with the idea that if we had a child, this would be her birth of Venus. And Rena lost her child, her daughter. And that's how I found her. I found a obituary in Montana. Kathleen was 22, 20. And I couldn't imagine that. Like when I heard that, read that, I wept and wept. It was such a sad thing. This beautiful, beautiful woman to lose her beautiful daughter. And I'm gonna, no I'm not, yes I am. I'm gonna say it now because this is it, this is the end. This is the dying of the great Muse and the great artist, the historians, you know, these memories. That when this ghost, or see, I don't know why Rena didn't get that. I did. When I started this painting, Rena started appearing. She first came, got in my bed, and pulled the covers to go to sleep next to me. I jumped out of bed. I was so freaked out. I said, what? You know, it was her energy. And she came back the next night. She said, I want to be with you. But she didn't speak. She just said that. I need to be with you. Go to sleep. Then I'd go to the movies, and she'd walk with me. I need to walk with you. I said, okay. Go to the store, she'd go with me. See, when you see all the paintings of Muse, there are these angels that you don't see. You see them in the painting, but the writer of music doesn't see them. They're angelic people. They're always, you know, right behind you. Eurydice, you know, Orpheus, the musician. See, Eurydice doesn't fit in with the nine muses. She's a whole different story. And this, a lot of people are studying theologians believe that this is the one that led to Christianity. This is what the Greeks were interested in when they adopted Judaism, or because there was a marriage of the Greek Judaic religion and Eurydice. She was the shining example of the people that lived in the Mediterranean area of yes, you can live forever. Yes, you can, you know, have victory over death. Look at Eurydice and look at Orpheus. You know, so you have this beautiful, beautiful woman and this beautiful musician that played the harp and to make the sunrise. See, and that was the epitome of what being a hippie was like in San Francisco. It was that combination of beauty and music. And of course the wonderful, all the other Greek mythology, the dances. So I did a little too much looking back in this letter. See, because I wondered if, after I read, Rena lost her daughter, if that was really her, if that wasn't Rena's daughter, that was coming to be with me. I don't know what she looks like. You know, her father was from Britain. He was buried over there. Then I asked this young woman that was haunting me, I said, who are you? Why are you haunting me? And she said, when I died, I lost my opportunity to be a muse to a lovely artist. It was my dream to be a muse. like my mother was a muse to you. That was it. That was why I cried. When I got Rena's letter, I cried before I even opened it. Because it was from both of them. It was both the mother and the daughter, Muse, the relationship that they had with Rena Easton, the relationship that Rena had with me, the great secret work that got lost when methamphetamine was introduced to the Haight-Ashbury in 1967. And overnight, the beautiful poets and the muses died. Speed kills. We wrote that down. The poetic, musical people were in grave danger and peril. Our whole movement was being killed by methamphetamine. And it was like instant. It was like dropping a bomb on Hiroshima. People that were your friends were also rabid animals. You know, they freak out when you get near them. They won't talk to you if you weren't slamming with them. I was living in the Idle Hands commune with Nancy, Mary Prankster. She's now pretty much the head of the Ken Kesey legacy. Christine lived there for a while. I was living there with the Zorthian sisters. And one day, Barry Zorthian approached me and she was crying. She said, "Greg, I've got to show you something." She brought out this little case that belonged to Steve. He was a brilliant, brilliant man, young man. And she opened it, and there was the needles shooting kit. And she said, "I found it under the bed." She said, "Greg, he's shooting up, but there's other people in this house shooting up." You know, and I'd seen it because I had this little room in the basement. I had to go past the boiler room, and they were gathering down there. And you'd see them, and they'd be huddled, you know. So, "Steve, how's it going?" I wasn't one of them. I'm 20 years old, and all of a sudden, my peers are gone. These bright, beautiful young men who I'm conversing with, you know, on a high level, and the muses, are now these rats down there next to this big boiler with flames. I mean, it was terrifying. And there are all the women up there crying, huddled together. And I'm the only male that's not infected with this. It was overnight. In searching the internet as to what happened to my muse, why she turned on me, betrayed me, forsake me, closed the gate of Hades so I could never go and get her ever again, but a restraining order or whatever, stalking order, you know. Orpheus stalking Eurydice. I mean, there it is. That's the epitome of it, right? She's the holder of the memories, see, and that's what speed destroys.